Alright, so this is a quick video. I'm going to show you how, if you're unfamiliar, how to do number 14. So it's asking, assume the line just below, meaning this red line here, is the length of a road on a map at the scale in figure 1.8. I'll show you that in a second. Determine the length of the road 4 ways as described below and answer the questions. So the first one, part A, says use the scale bar in figure 1.8c to determine the length of the road in miles. But the first step, at least assuming you're using a physical book, is to get a piece of paper and a pencil. What I like to do is either just put the corner of your paper right there or take any 2 points. So I'm going to just draw a little line right there and another little line right there, so that now the paper is the length of that red line. Then we're going to go to, it says figure 1.8c. So this is figure 1.8, this map at Grand Canyon Village, and part C is the scale bar down here. So then I'm going to take the paper that I made and I lined it up. Now this is what it's talking about. Right here is the 0, not right here. This is showing half and 1 so that you can measure smaller increments, which we might need to do. Let's take a look. So this, lining this line up with 0, this line up out here, now we can clearly see that this is more than 1 but less than 2. And so I would write 1 point. And then I would put that line right there so that I can go over here and I'm going to put that line and line that up here. So this line with the 0 and this line, and then it'll be up to you to figure out, are these tenths, are they eighths, what increment are they? And so is this 1.5, is it 1.6, is it 1.7? How many miles is this? But we do know that it's more than 1 and less than 2. Part B says use the scale bar to determine the length of the road in kilometers. Same thing. Right here is miles. That's the bar that we were just looking at. This middle bar is in feet and this bottom one is in kilometers. And again, the 0 is not at the end, it's right there. So you do the same thing that you just did, and this time finding the answer in kilometers. So let me show you how I do this on a computer using a PDF ebook. So the first thing I'm going to do is go back to figure 1.8, which is back a couple of pages, and I'm going to take a screenshot of that map. Taking a screenshot of the whole thing, most especially the map and the scale bar. Actually, really all I really care about is the scale bar itself, but I'm going to copy that whole thing in and go into PowerPoint and paste that. And because all I care about is the scale bar itself, I'm going to just go ahead and crop everything else out. Don't resize anything yet. That's part of the key to this whole process, is don't resize anything until you're ready to resize it together. Now we need to go back to this, take a screenshot of that bar. So I'm just going to get a screenshot of just that red spot. Copy that, go back into PowerPoint. I'm going to paste those together. Instead of resizing them, I'm just going to actually zoom in on them. Then what you can do is, because if you have a uniform background with all one color, you can go to the color, go to the Format tab, hit Color, set Transparent Color, and then click on that background, and it makes everything else go away so that you can hold the bar directly over it. If you have another assignment that's similar to this in nature, you need to measure things as you would on a page with a ruler, but it's not a uniform background. Another thing you can do is just create a new shape. Let's make a line that's exact. That's not working very well, so we're going to make a box instead. I'm just going to make the box, give it no outline, and I'm going to hold that directly next to the red line there, and then I'm going to expand it out so that it's exactly the same size. Pretty darn close anyway. And then you can use this to measure how far it is. Now, one thing to note, if you're watching this video, you're doing this particular assignment, be careful, because the 0 is not at the far left edge of each of these scale bars. The 0 is actually right here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 miles. This is 0, 3,000, 6,000, 9,000, so on, feet. 0 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kilometers. The reason they put the 0 there and then have other ones going off to the left is so you can have smaller increments. So what we would need to do is put this right there, and we immediately see that if we're measuring in miles, this is longer than 1 mile, but shorter than 2 miles. Well, how much shorter? Well, that's why we need to go over here. So what I would do is I would copy this, make another copy that's right at the 1 mile mark, going to the edge of this, and then take that and put it over here. Anyway, so that's how I would go about measuring things on a computer without a physical ruler when you have to compare things against a scale bar. Part C. Use the verbal scale of 1 mile is 1.014 inches and an appropriate ruler to measure the road in miles. And we're going to show any calculations needed. So here's a ruler, and I'm going to measure this. And this looks like it's 1 3/4 inches. So I would write down 1.75 inches. Now, from the scale, or from the verbal scale, it said, remember it said 1 mile equals 1.014 inches. So I'm going to write down that it was 1.75 inches. Now, remember that the book told us that 1 mile equals 1.014 inches. So what we need to find is how many miles. So I'm going to put an X there, and then under here I'm going to put how many inches we just measured. So remember from algebra class, in order to find the value of X in an equation like this, you're going to multiply this by that, which is going to give you still 1.75, and then you divide that by that. So 1.75 divided by 1.014, oops, there should be a 1 there, will give you your answer, and hopefully that answer is going to be the same thing that you got when you measured using the map scale.